Throughout the entire pre-production, production and post-production stages, I have used WordPress to document every process and step I made and how this was significant to my film overall. This blogging site has really helped me develop my ideas, unlike last year, as a growing detailed amount of posts allowed me to view every decision I was making and develop the concepts within this. It was this process that allowed me to develop my narrative and change it over time, as I had a clear view of what I was doing right and what needed to be improved. This organised process put all my work in one place, and I could consistently go back and see my developments and changes that I have made. In my AS year, I did not take into account the development stages of my work, and having these documented every day made my A2 processes much smoother overall. On my WordPress blog, I embedded all my videos, including my animatic, test filming, first edit, and final edit. These were all put onto YouTube in order to embed them and also allow my work to be put on a more creative outlet, just as many amateur filmmakers do when they put their work on an online platform. I also use YouTube to present my audience research, such as my focus group. I use the online application Scribd to present any Word document, such as my script and shot listing, in a neat and ordered format that was easy to read and follow, especially when filming outside when I needed an online application that showed me all of my shots without the hassle of having to carry around a hard copy of them. I filmed my focus group on the Canon SLR camera. This was also used throughout my entire filming process for my short film. In my AS year, I used an alternative camera and found the processes on it were difficult to use. Specifically, it was hard to focus, especially on long shots. This is why this year I used the Canon camera. This has an automated focus, meaning I could focus in on whatever I wanted automatically. This made it much easier to use and didn't waste time while setting up shots. The camera also has a lighting feature, which I used to my advantage, creating a light, natural finish on all my shots. While using the functions on the camera, I also used a tripod. This allowed for still motions in every shot. I also used a tripod to frame and angle my protagonist into shots. This is perfect, especially when using continuity editing such as shot reverse shot, when the frames have to be presented in order to create the effect that the conversation is going on between two characters, shown in the interview scene within Take 2. I also believe I managed to create very still moving shots such as pans using the tripod, and this is something that I didn't manage last year and resulted in me using the stabilisation tool in Final Cut when it came to editing. This was something that I didn't have to do this year. In order to film all my shots, I used the 32GB SD card. I knew from my prior work in AS year that using different SD cards increases the chances of footage being lost, as it's easy to mistake many SD cards as the same one. It also makes it more difficult in the editing process when I am organising shots into the right order, as I would have had to do this manually if I used more than one SD card. Knowing this, I bought an SD card that would hold all my footage and allow me to import them onto Final Cut for editing. I've used Final Cut for a variety of my work in media studies, so when starting the editing process, I already knew how to work the software. This program is great for cropping, moving, cutting and changing footage, and I felt I used this more to my advantage this year than in my AS year. I used the speed tool to slow down a shot of my protagonist falling over. This made the situation more dramatised and comedic, and I felt this worked really well overall. I also used the colour wheel when looking at the lighting at the end of the film. I changed the exposure and made the shot lighter, so it looked like a more gradual fade into darkness. Final Cut has also allowed me to modify my sound, making it louder and quieter, all while fading the music in and out for a more continuous piece. I produced my music with a pianist who taught me through the uses of GarageBand. I learned how to crop, loop and transport music from the keyboard to a GarageBand software. This really helped me when producing my music, as I had time to check other aspects such as sound, tempo and pitch, and these could all be changed on GarageBand. I also made the decision to make the pace of the music slower, to fit the pace of the film and its genre. Once all the music was recorded onto GarageBand, I then exported it as a file and imported it onto Final Cut. I found this process less of a struggle this year, as I was more used to the software and had more input on how it would fit into my film. When it came to my ancillary tasks, I used a variety of different tech I had not used in my prior media productions. In order to create a professional product for my review, I used Adobe InDesign. This program allowed me to create a replica of Empire magazine, which was a magazine review I was aspiring to achieve. I was able to set up columns, create taglines, change fonts, set and adjust text and shapes, import images, and create a yellow border, much like the ones you see on Empire today. To create my film poster, I use Adobe Photoshop. I've used this application before, but not in great detail. I found this application simple to use, and it gave me the freedom to adjust the sizes of my text, billing block, reviews, and titles. I also used it to enhance my main photo, making the overall poster stand out more to the target audience, due to the pinker hue that runs through it. While using Photoshop, I also used Dafont, an online website that offers thousands of original fonts for free. I decided on 2 main fonts as they run throughout my work. These were easy to download and created a more quirky teenage look to the poster. For the last process, the evaluations, I used iMovie. This allowed me to upload my photos onto an application, changing the duration of the pictures and cropping out parts that were not relevant. I used a built-in microphone on my Mac to record my voice over, and then simply imported this into my iMovie projects.